iconic comedy show, the puppet satire Spitting Image was back, but this time he is being mercilessly, ruthlessly mocked.
Hey, it's the husband formerly known as Prince. Any luck getting a job?
Oh, they had me driving for Uber Eats, but there were too many damn rules. Don't touch the food, don't taste the food, drive on the road.
I'm sorry, Rowdy Reddy. Careful, Harry. I spilled some essential oils on the floor.
I don't know, Megs. I've tried every career there is. Prince, Hitler, maybe I'm just not qualified for anything.
That's not true. You're a great husband, a good-hearted man. You've got big, muscular teeth.
Thanks, Meg. And I guess now I'm qualified for this. Unemployment!
It was supposed to be just another cheeky roast from Britain's most infamous puppet show. But this time, Spitting Image didn't just poke fun at Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, they absolutely ripped their public personas to shreds. From skewering Meghan's obsession with Hollywood fame to portraying Harry as a bumbling, unemployed sidekick, this satire went straight for the jugular. And unlike other celebrity parodies, this one hit so close to home that Meghan reportedly lost her cool. The sketches didn't just get laughs, they tore apart the carefully polished brand the Sussexes have built since stepping down from royal duties. What Spitting Image managed to do in a few minutes of puppet comedy was expose contradictions, hypocrisy, and cringe-worthy truths the couple has spent years trying to hide.
If I'm going to succeed in America, I need a lifestyle brand of creams and supplements. Gwyneth Paltrow has Goop, Kourtney Kardashian has Poosh, and Jamie Lee Curtis has Poogert. Now I've got mine, Meg Goo, celebrating the sexy earth goddess in all of us.
So, let's break down exactly how Spitting Image dismantled the Sussex narrative, point by point, and why Meghan and Harry weren't laughing. When Spitting Image returned with their latest episode, viewers expected sharp humor. But this was next-level savage. Meghan's puppet wasn't a playful jab, it was a direct assault on her image. The show depicted her as a self-obsessed, fame-chasing figure who would do anything to keep her name in the headlines. The script didn't just allude to her Hollywood ambitions, it exaggerated them into absurdity, mocking her as someone desperate to be the next lifestyle guru, complete with her own brand, Megoo. It was a jab at her attempts to rival names like Gwyneth Paltrow and Kourtney Kardashian. The caricature framed Meghan as relentlessly scheming to stay relevant, suggesting her empowered woman persona was just a marketing strategy. For an image-conscious celebrity who's carefully curated every public appearance, this parody was devastating, because instead of reinforcing her brand, it flipped it into a punchline she couldn't control. The Spitting Image writers didn't just target Meghan's career moves, they tore into her entire public narrative. The puppet mocked her as someone obsessed with controlling how the world sees her, while secretly orchestrating every detail behind the scenes.
No more following Granny's rules. Don't wear your pants on your head, Harry. Don't bath on the butler, Harry. If I want to play polo in my living room, who's gonna stop me?
Stop that!
Her charity work, interviews, and Netflix projects were reframed as calculated moves to boost her personal brand, rather than genuine passion. The sketch showed Meghan fussing over her image while ignoring the chaos she creates, hinting at a cold, calculating side beneath the warm, polished exterior. It also poked fun at her marriage, portraying her as the dominant force and Harry as the clueless follower. For viewers, this parody hit on long-whispered criticisms that Meghan's public identity is less about authenticity and more about maintaining relevance at any cost. The puppet performance was so biting because it didn't just invent flaws, it exaggerated the very qualities critics have accused her of for years. One of the most memorable sketches mocked Meghan's obsession with Hollywood access. The puppet version had her stealing an invitation to Michelle Obama's book party, acting as if her royal title entitled her to a permanent VIP pass.
All right, I've finished my clippy. Where it says signature, do I put the royal seal?
That's not necessary, Mr. of Wales. I see here that your previous career was in realty.
Royalty, but it wasn't a career. My wife's got a Netflix empire. Who doesn't?
The satire painted her as someone desperate to cling to A-list circles, regardless of whether she was actually invited. The gag worked because it tapped into a real criticism, that Meghan leverages her royal connection to push herself into elite spaces. The puppet's over-the-top confidence in her social standing, contrasted with her obvious insecurity, made the moment hilarious and cutting at the same time. It wasn't just mocking her ambition, it was mocking how transparent that ambition appears. In this portrayal, Meghan isn't a humble humanitarian. She's the ultimate Hollywood networker, willing to elbow her way into any room if it means more visibility and influence.
So Pads, tell me, everyone knows you're the bear who likes to share. What's the secret to your eternal personal glow?
Well, Harry, I'm glad you asked me that. As you know, I'm a huge fan of South American product.
Is it Colombian?
No, 100% Peruvian, biodynamic, organic, catastrophic cocaine.
Yes, I've tried it, and the results were incredible.
The writers didn't let Harry off the hook. In fact, one of the most brutal moments was a reenactment of a real-life incident where Harry pitched Meghan for voiceover work to Disney's CEO at a red carpet event. The puppet exaggerated this cringe-worthy moment, showing Harry as a desperate, out-of-work former prince begging for any role that might boost Meghan's career. This wasn't just about the awkwardness, it highlighted how far Harry's public image has fallen. Once seen as a confident, adventurous royal, the parody painted him as dependent on Meghan for direction and purpose. The scene suggested he's no longer a leader in his own life, but a supporting player in Meghan's carefully scripted story. The uncomfortable humor worked because it was rooted in reality, making Harry appear not just out of place in Hollywood, but out of touch with his own diminished status. If Meghan's portrayal was ruthless, Harry's was downright humiliating in the Paddington Bear segment. The puppet gleefully discussed his past drug use in a tongue-in-cheek exchange about organic, catastrophic Peruvian products. The humor was sharp because it blended his privileged upbringing with his rebellious past, suggesting that even his wild years were cushioned by wealth and royal safety nets. This wasn't a sympathetic portrayal of a young man finding himself. It was a jab at someone who treated self-destructive behavior as an adventurous phase, without facing the consequences most people would.
Meghan, this new Netflix show I'm producing for you is gonna be huge. Tell Eldon all about it.
It's about a beautiful young swan, but no one treats her like the beautiful swan she is until season 2, when everyone apologizes to her.
The satire hinted at how Harry's bad boy persona was more curated than authentic, exposing the contradictions in his public narrative. For a man who now brands himself as a mental health advocate and role model, the sketch was a reminder of the messy, privileged history he'd rather keep in the background. One of the sharpest elements of the parody was how clearly it depicted the power balance in Meghan and Harry's relationship. Meghan's puppet was cool, composed, and always one step ahead, while Harry's was clumsy, confused, and constantly seeking her approval. The sketches exaggerated this dynamic into absurdity, showing Meghan as a corporate CEO managing her intern husband. Every decision, from public appearances to PR strategy, was portrayed as Meghan's call. While funny, it reinforced a perception that has followed the couple for years, that Meghan is the true decision-maker and Harry is simply along for the ride. This part of the satire resonated because it didn't feel entirely far-fetched. By turning Harry into a literal puppet controlled by Meghan, the show visually and comically drove home the idea that their partnership is anything but equal.
Hey, it's the husband formerly known as Prince. Any luck getting a job?
Oh, they had me driving for Uber Eats, but there were too many damn rules. Don't touch the food, don't taste the food, drive on the road.
I'm sorry, Rowdy Reddy.
Perhaps the most biting theme was the couple's self-proclaimed status as rebels escaping the oppressive royal system. The parody flipped this narrative on its head, showing them profiting off their royal story at every turn. Harry's puppet complained about being trapped in the monarchy, while simultaneously enjoying the perks it brought him. Meghan's puppet positioned herself as an independent woman while relying on royal connections to secure high-profile deals. The hypocrisy was presented so plainly that it didn't even need exaggeration. The mere contradiction was enough to land the joke. Spitting Image suggested that their freedom was more about rebranding royalty into a profitable business than genuinely stepping away from the institution. The humor worked because it held up a mirror to the couple's public contradictions, making them impossible to ignore. Another recurring punchline was the couple's inability to stay out of the public eye despite constant complaints about media intrusion. The puppets showed Meghan plotting her next media move under the guise of protecting her privacy, while Harry stumbled into every interview, podcast, and documentary opportunity available.
I don't know, Megs. I've tried every career there is. Prince, Hitler. Maybe I'm just not qualified for anything.
That's not true. You're a great husband, a good-hearted man. You've got big, muscular teeth.
Thanks, Meg. And I guess now I'm qualified for this. Unemployment!
The satire made it clear, for all their talk about retreating from the spotlight, the Sussexes have carefully built a new spotlight entirely on their own terms. By showing them as relentless self-promoters, the sketch suggested their real goal isn't peace or privacy, but total control over their public image. The humor here cut deep because it wasn't a wild theory. It was a sharp observation of how their post-royal careers have actually played out. In one scene, Meghan's puppet obsessively micromanaged her brand, while Harry bumbled around, unsure of his next move. This visual metaphor drove home the idea that their entire public identity is built on contradictions. They claim to reject the monarchy, but continue to use its prestige. They portray themselves as victims of press intrusion while monetizing their story to the media. They present themselves as activists and philanthropists, but their biggest projects center around telling and selling their own narrative. The sketch nailed the irony. Their brand isn't about the causes they champion, but about keeping themselves at the center of attention. By stripping away the PR gloss, Spitting Image revealed a hollow core beneath the glossy headlines. The episode's overarching message was simple. Meghan and Harry may have left royal life, but they've built their own monarchy. One ruled by media deals, PR strategy, and constant self-promotion. The puppets portrayed them as trapped in a cycle of attention-seeking, unable to step away from the very limelight they claim to resent. It was harsh, hilarious, and brutally effective. For Meghan and Harry, the sketch was more than just a joke. It was a public unmasking, and perhaps that's why Meghan's reported fury felt so believable. Spitting Image didn't just roast them, it exposed the cracks in their brand. And that's the genius of Spitting Image. It takes public figures who think they control the narrative and turns that narrative inside out. For Meghan and Harry, this wasn't just a parody, it was a mirror held up to their most glaring contradictions. It mocked their Hollywood ambitions, their claims of privacy, and the carefully curated power dynamic between them. Whether you think the Sussexes are victims of an unfair press or masters of self-promotion, it's hard to deny that this satire hit uncomfortably close to reality. Because in the end, parody works best when it's rooted in truth, and this sketch had more than enough material to work with. Meghan and Harry left the palace, but they haven't left the stage. And if Spitting Image has anything to say about it, they never will.